Aquarium keeping was all the rage a century ago, and coincidentally this was also the golden age of cast iron. Enterprising ironworks companies were soon producing ornate aquaria, which they offered in catalogs alongside fountains, urns, and garden furniture. The best at the time was the J.W. Fiske Ironworks of New York City. Fiske produced a line of aquariums that incorporated parts that were also used for fountains. The result was something like a bird bath with an octagonal aquarium built on top of the basin, and with a fountain in the center. These items were for the wealthy. $112 back then is equivalent to over $3,000 today. Here's the actual catalog page with the aquarium that I acquired. And here it is today in its most up-to-date form in the sunroom of my house. This is the third video I've done on this beautiful aquarium, and today I want to tell you about an upgrade that I did to increase the volume of the gravel bed so that I could grow plants better in this particular aquarium. So to begin with, I had to drain the tank. I recoated the bottom after removing any rust that had formed underneath the epoxy coating, and then I recoated with West Marine 2-part epoxy, and when that had completely cured, I put this PVC pipe in the center in order to support aluminum foil, which became the basis for sheets of epoxy sculpt that I rolled out into flat plates and then carefully pushed into place on the aluminum foil in order to form a basin, essentially. So once this basin was done curing, it could be cut in order to make essentially 4 equal part areas that could be removed when the aquarium is cleaned. Notice the hole there on the side, that will accommodate the heater and the surface skimmer. So in the end, you can essentially remove the individual trays that hold the plants and gravel. And this is important because there is a pump in the bottom of that rockwork column that pulls water through a gravel bed, much like an undergravel filter, and then pumps it up the rockwork column to the top and through a jet that sticks out from the side. So here you have the final product after the walls are added to the individual trays and around the skimmer, and here you can see the skimmer and the heater. And so basically everything is ready to go, and you add gravel to those basins, and you sort of cover up the seams of the individual trays with a little bit of rock and woodwork, and now you have a much larger gravel bed to grow plants in this particular tank. Now, I tried to grow these plants using a Kessel for freshwater aquariums. I did not like the color that it imparted to my fish, and so I returned to using a 50-watt halogen bulb, which gives me beautiful color, and especially reds, in the fish that are in this tank. But in order to accentuate the growth or enhance the growth of the plants that are in this system, I decided to also employ a 40-watt LED grow light, which I clamped off to the side on the tree that grows next to the aquarium, and using the gooseneck fittings for these long LED strips, I was able to integrate those into the cross posts at the top of each of the panes of glass, of 2 of the panes of glass. And so I have those set on their automatic timer to go on for 4 hours in the middle of the day when I'm usually not around, and that adds an additional enhancement of light, which makes these plants just grow great. So the end product is a very healthy aquarium. You'll notice I have several bettas in this tank, 1 male and about 5 females, which is always a wonderfully active situation. 2 big angelfish, a lot of rummy nose and cardinal tetras, and a few white clouds as well, with some autosynchlas cleaning up the algae. The boy with the umbrella that once stood at the top of this rockwork column was missing when I bought the piece, so I've replaced this with a orchid holder that I also made out of epoxy sculpt. As I said earlier, this tank is illuminated for 4 hours a day by 40-watt LED grow lights, and this really enhances the growth of the plant life in the tank. You can also see how unobtrusive those two strip lights are. The big difference between these aquaria and modern aquaria are that they can be enjoyed from above as well as from the side. In fact, you often observe more by looking at them from above. Of course, in order for this to work, you have to have a surface skimmer that constantly removes any sort of material that floats on the surface, particularly organic slime or bubbles or those sorts of things. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this latest chapter in my adventures with an antique Victorian cast iron aquarium.